All right, let's react to Week 15 AP College Football Rankings. All that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner
What's up, kinfolks? RJ Young. I'm not on step milk. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, we're going to react to the Week 15 Top 25 AP Associated Pro, which is redundant, rankings. I just said AP twice. That's how we're doing this. And you know what? Maybe it's because I'm just as off as these rankings. Because the first thing we got to talk about is LSU goes to number 1. All right, fine, whatever. You stomped the mud hole in Texas A&M and walked a dry 50-7. But at number 2, I like Ohio State better because what Justin Fields, J.K. Dobbins, and Chase Young were able to do against Michigan cannot be understated. That's a good Michigan football team. Only problem with that Michigan football team is that they're 0-5 against that team in the only game that matters in Ann Arbor or in Columbus for that matter. Jim Harbaugh getting touchy-feely about not being able to beat Ohio State. Because first we thought it was Urban Meyer, and now it just seems to be the Buckeyes because Ryan Day is undefeated. Even as Jim Harbaugh has put together 3 top 10 seasons, still has an opportunity for a 4th. We're going to style on him because, you got beat down by this team, but this team is also one of the best college football teams I've ever seen. And they have legitimately 3 Heisman candidates. Tell me another team that has 3. I'll wait. Go in there in the comments and let me know. But at number 2, I would take Ohio State at number 1. I think they're the best team in football. I think this is their championship to lose at this particular juncture. They're going to have another opportunity to prove it this weekend against Wisconsin, the Big Ten championship. At number 3, Clemson. Dabo Swinney doesn't think you rate him highly enough. I tend to agree. I think that's his number 2 team. I think LSU could drop as far as 3, quite honestly. I also think that Dabo Swinney's a little too sensitive because he's talking about beating up on a South Carolina team 38-3 that beat Georgia and how people are trying to put Georgia into the playoff and they want to keep Clemson out of it. The little old Clemson mindset works in Clemson, South Carolina. It does not work here in the land of the living and reality. We all know that Clemson is a juggernaut. We all know that you went undefeated and you're undefeated through these games and you're friggin' 27-0 since your last loss. We get it. You're Voltron. I've said so. You're the number 2 team in the country. I can't wait to see Ohio State and Clemson in the national championship game because that's how I think it's going to go down. Trevor Lawrence has been playing awesome football of the latter half of the year. Start off real rocky. Since then, it's been one of the 4 best quarterbacks in all of college football, and that defense is still stout and stingy. They have won 7 straight games by 30 or more. They are ridiculous. Number 4, Georgia. They get a very convincing win against Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech ain't nobody to no one, and they got a loss to South Carolina. That's where they're forced by 11-1. South Carolina turns out to be a very bad football team, but not as bad as some. I could easily see some other teams in that 4th spot, but I'm fine with it because Georgia has to play LSU, which means LSU has to once again prove that they're one of the best teams in the country by winning this SEC championship, going undefeated through the regular season, which is an accomplishment unto itself. But Georgia can show everybody that South Carolina game was the fluke that many of them think it was because they outgained South Carolina in that game. They had opportunities to win it late, multiple, and it just didn't break their way against a Will Muschamp team that I didn't think was that good to begin with, even as if you challenge them to a rock fight, they can still beat you. Like they're going to show up with a big rock and try to brain you to death with it. At number 5, Utah beats the brakes off of Colorado 45-15, but I don't think this is one of the 5 best teams in college football. I don't buy it. They got beat by a USC team with a 3rd-string quarterback, and their secondary got exposed. I get that Zach Moss is a big part of your offense, but you also got me out here like you think Tyler Huntley is some sort of Heisman candidate, and we just don't see that. Now, Kyle Whittingham's squad is stout, and they can play outstanding defense, and that defensive line is ridiculous, but one of the 5 best teams in college football? I don't think so. You're going to have opportunity to prove it against what many people believe is the toughest game on your schedule, Pac-12 championship, and it ain't on your schedule, right? It's Oregon, 2-loss Oregon, who is going to be playing spoiler if they can win this Pac-12 championship and probably finish with a top 6 ranking when it's all said and done, depending on how they go in the bowl game. Number 6, Oklahoma, vaulting to number 6 spot after a great win against a top 25, at least in the college football playoff rankings, Oklahoma State team. Now, I'm not the person that will rank Oklahoma State in the top 25, not because of the 3 losses, but because 2 of your weapons didn't play. You've been without Spencer Sanders and Tylan Wallace for 2 weeks, and you've been out without Tylan Wallace for like a month. yeah, you were going to get your head handed to you by an Oklahoma State team, or Oklahoma State, by an Oklahoma team that's just that much better than you. Talent, it's just there. Parnell Motley had himself a day. Should have had 2 picks, had 1, had 2 forced fumbles, was my player of the game. Chuba Hubbard was held, in air quotes, to just over 100 yards rushing. That dude's a monster. And if you couldn't stack the box against him, if Drew Brown was half as good as I thought he might be, you might have been able to pick him apart, but I don't think Braden Johnson's going to be the answer. It's going to be a really tough year for Oklahoma State next year, as they're going to go, I think, life without Tylan Wallace and life without Chuba Hubbard, and that's going to be a tough thing for them to go through. I think LD Brown could be that guy because he's really fast. One of the things that I learned over the week was LD Brown is actually faster than Chuba Hubbard because they've raced each other, and LD Brown will beat him, and Chuba Hubbard has 10.55 second speed, so you got that to look forward to if you're Oklahoma State. They just keep putting out backs, man. Just back after back after back. Shout out Justin Hill. At number 7, we're talking about Florida. 10-2 Florida. Ain't going to play for no conference championship, though. Florida and Auburn, I think, deserve each other with the seasons that they've had and the way that they've finished basically runners-up in the SEC East and West, respectively. I think that Florida's a good football team. They ran into a couple of buzzsaws in Georgia and LSU. But Dan Mullen and his group have to be very proud of what they've done, especially with Kyle Trask coming off the bench to lead this team to a 10-win season in the regular season. An outstanding football team. As a 2-loss team, I'm with that. That's fine. Them at 7's cool. Except Baylor exists. Baylor at 8 as 11-1 with 1 loss to the number 6 team in the country in Oklahoma. I think that's, wins and losses mean something to me. So if you have less losses than you have the other team, or half as many, you should be ranked higher. Now, did they play the same schedule that Florida played? Absolutely not. But they beat everybody on their schedule, even if they needed a ref's help to do it against Texas Tech, and even if they gave up a 25-point lead against Oklahoma. But they're going to have an opportunity to prove they're one of the 4 best teams, hopefully, in college football when they get to play Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. I, like many other people, think Oklahoma's going to do the double in this thing, but Baylor's been playing outstanding football the last couple of weeks with a really great win against Texas, 24-10 in a game that should have been 24-3 except for the last 4 seconds of the game. And then giving up just 6 points total to Kansas. They're playing outstanding defense. James Lynch might be your defensive player of the year. And that was after Clay Johnston went down, who was their best defender this year. Number 9, Alabama gets beat 48-45 by Auburn and Gus Malzahn's infinite bag of tricks. This game was a lot of fun to watch. It's also fun for me to be able to tell Alabama fans, hey, you put up 515 yards of offense, you had a 300-yard passer, you had a near 150-yard rusher, you had 3 receivers go over 80 yards receiving, you had 2 pick sixes returned, and you had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Oh, man. Mac Jones throwing 6 TDs. 4 TDs to his players, 2 to the other team. Point that I'm making is welcome to Big 12 football, where you can score 45 points, put up 500 yards of offense, have a 300-yard passer, and still take that L. At number 10, Wisconsin, 38-17 win against Minnesota for the Axe. They have an opportunity to redeem themselves against Ohio State. I don't think it's going to happen. Jonathan Taylor's had an outstanding season. Might be invited to the Heisman ceremony. We'll see. At number 11, Auburn. 9-3 Auburn. Good football team, Auburn. Bo Nix passes 50%, still gets a W. College football's stupid. 12, Penn State. 10-2 Penn State had an opportunity to be in the thing at the end. They debuted as the number 4 team in the college football playoff rankings. They have dropped since to number 12. It's been that kind of year for Penn State. With the L to Michigan and with the L to Ohio State, still an outstanding season for James Franklin and the Nittany Lions. Oregon at number 13 beats Oregon State in the Civil War, a game that was closer than I thought it was going to be. Justin Herbert probably has trended downward the most of any guy that was expected to be drafted in the first round. We'll see what happens with Tua Tagovailoa and his hip, but I think that he's going to be gone. Justin Herbert's going to be gone. We'll see what that draft looks like, but Oregon has an opportunity to still remind everybody, hey, we're a really good football team, even as we took an L to Arizona State, and one in which we led all but just a few seconds against an Auburn team that just beat Alabama. All right. Number 14, Notre Dame at 10-2. They get a great win against Stanford. Ian Book is a dual threat quarterback. The way that people were talking about Kyler Murray last year, and the way that he moves his feet, and the way that he is able to extend plays with his feet, is the way that we should be talking about Ian Book, who did this all without a steady diet of a good running back. Like Tony Jones Jr. is just not that guy for me. Chase Claypool, outstanding. Cole Kmet has come on when Fink is ready to go. He's really great too. I think this is a good season for Notre Dame. All jokes aside, 10-2 is remarkable. Minnesota, 10-2. Nobody saw this one coming. A top 25 finish, top 15 finish for Minnesota in the regular season. Nobody called that. PJ Fleck rowing the boat. Had a shot to do this. Took L's. It happens. Golden Gophers are going to be stout next year. Memphis at 11-1. Hands Cincinnati just its second loss of the season. Going to have to do that again to win the American Championship. Outstanding season for my man Mike Norvell, who did most of this without his star player in Patrick Taylor. Kenneth Gainwell turned into a monster. Now you got Patrick Taylor and Kenneth Gainwell back. And Brady White has been playing outstanding. The defense is coming on. The American Championship game is going to be a lot of fun. Number 17, Michigan, 9-3. With losses against ranked opponents, man. I mean, we're talking about Wisconsin. We're talking about Ohio State. And maybe it's that we just didn't give them enough credit for how great they have been. But it's difficult because most people expected Michigan to be, on the road to the college football playoff with its schedule. Because you had Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State. I mean, it was stacked for you to do this thing. Couldn't necessarily get it done. Jim Harbaugh got a decision to make. Do you want to keep getting your head kicked in by Ohio State and still win 10 games? Maybe. I wouldn't, but I'm not you. I'm not getting paid $7.5 million to tell people I'm not going to answer their arrogant insults. That was funny. 18, Iowa. Thought they should have taken an L to Nebraska. I felt really bad for Nebraska. I thought they deserved to win that football game. I thought Scott Frost's kids deserved to go 6-6 and play in a bowl game. Really want Nebraska to be good. I wanted them to be better by 2021. We were all banking on Scott Frost in year 2. Just didn't get it done. 5-7 this year. Got to go back to the drawing board, figure it out in Lincoln. Boise State at number 19, 11-1. They did this without Hank Bachmeier against Colorado State. One of the best group of 5 schedules. One of the best group of 5 schools. They essentially played they did play an away game against Florida State, and they got a W with a true freshman quarterback. Shouts out to Brian Harsin, man. Maybe you're thinking about him as the next head coach in Arkansas. It's there for me. Number 20, Appalachian State handed Troy its head. My man Zach Thomas, just 5 tutties, 4 through the air, 300 yards passing. Eli Drinkwitz, native of Norman, Oklahoma, getting it done for Yosef and the Mountaineers. Might be the best group of 5 team for my money, period. I think they are better than Boise State. Cincinnati, 21, 10-2 season with a 42-0 loss to Ohio State. Everybody getting their head kicked in by Ohio State. And then you take your first or second L of the season, first since September, against Memphis. You got to have an opportunity to redeem yourself, get to an 11-win season before you get to a bowl game. That's pretty cool. Virginia, doing it in Whoville, getting the first W against Vatech in 15 years. Before Bryce Perkins put 400 yards of total offense up on Vatech and Bud Foster in his final regular season game at Vatech. The last person to actually go and get a W against Vatech as a quarterback at Virginia, Matt Schwab. Matt Schwab's 38 years old, dog. Then Navy at 23, 9-2. Excellent season for Navy. Outstanding by Malcolm Perry and the gang. I don't want to play Navy. Don't nobody want to play Navy, and that's kind of the point. Great season for them. They get to play Army, and the only game that I really, really care about here that's going to be in the regular season, that's going to be a lot of fun. 24, USC, 8-4. Stick it. Clay Helton gets to keep his job, or so we think. You did this with a freshman quarterback, Keaton Slovis, a backup quarterback, Keaton Slovis, after losing JT Daniels. Next year, you get Brew McCoy back. You got another year of Chris Steele under your belt. It's going to be a lot of fun if Clay Helton gets to stick this thing together, keep Clancy Pendergrass, keep Graham Harrell on the staff. And then at number 25, Air Force, turned in a 10-win season. That's 2 service academies inside the top 25. I can't remember the last time that's happened to finish a regular season. Outstanding by all. Then others receiving votes, SMU got 50 points, Oklahoma State got 36, Kansas State got 36, good win for them over Iowa State over the weekend. Central Florida got 6 points, Vatech got 6 points, Iowa State got 5 points after the loss to Kansas State, Arizona State got 4 points, won the Territorial Cup, good for them. Kevin Sumlin might be on the hot seat. California got 3 points, 7-5 season for Justin Wilcox, pretty good. And then Washington destroys Washington State once again. Chris Peterson owns Mike Leach. All right, that's it for me. Doses.